Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Radha, Govardhandari Radha, Govardhandari Shri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So we continue. The chapter is called Expansions of Advaita Charya, which also explains Gadadhara Pandit's expansions. So, verse 83. Vaninatha Brahmachari Padamahashaya Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa Krishna Prema Maya Vaninatha Brahmachari Padamahashaya Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa Krishna Prema Maya Vaninatha Brahmachari Padamahashaya Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa Krishna Prema Maya Vaninatha Brahmachari. Of the name Vaninatha Brahmachari, Padamahashaya, very great personality, Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa, of the name Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa, Krishna Prema Maya, always filled with love of Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The 13th branch was Vaninatha Brahmachari, and the 14th was Vallabha Chaitanya Das. Both of these great personalities were always filled with love of Krishna. Please repeat. The 13th branch was Vaninatha Brahmachari, and the 14th was Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa. Both of these great personalities were always filled with love of Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Vaninatha Brahmachari is described in the 10th chapter, 114th verse of Adi-lila. A disciple of Vallabha Chaitanya named Nalini Mohana Goswami established a temple of Madana Gopal in Navadvip. So I keep reading the verses, just short purports. Srinatha Chakravarti Ara Udavadasa Jitamitra Krishna Kata Jagannatha Dasa. Translation. The 15th branch was Srinatha Chakravarti, the 16th Uddhava, the 17th Jitamitra, and the 18th Jagannath Das, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Shakya Niranya, verse 13, mentions Srinath Chakravarti as the reservoir of all good qualities, an expert in the service of Lord Krishna. Similarly, verse 35 mentions Uddhava Das as being greatly qualified in distributing love of Godhead to everyone. The Gaurya Ganodesha Dipika, verse 202, mentions Jitamitra as the gopi named Shama Manjari. Jitamitra wrote a book entitled Krishna Mayurya. Jagannath Das was a resident of Vikramapura near Dhaka. His birthplace was the village known as Kastakata or Katadiya. His descendants now reside in villages known as Adi-lila, Kamarapada, and Paikapada. He established a temple of Yasomadava. The worshippers in this temple are the Goswamis of Adi-lila. As one of the 64 Sakhis, he was formerly assistant of Chitta Devi Gopi named Tilakini. The following is a list of his descendants: Raman Nisimha, Rama Gopala, Ramachandra, Sanatana, Muktarama, Gopinata, Goloka, Hari Mahuna, Shiromani, Rakalaraja, Madhava, Lakshmikanta. The Sakra Niranaya mentions that Jagannath Das preached the Hare Krishna movement in the district or state of Tripura. So, in just a few words, this chapter gradually introduces all the great expansions and descendants of Advaita Acharya and Gadadhara Pandit. As the previous verses and purports explained, the free, authentic line of Advaita Acharya, which Achyutananda, a great personality, and those who follow these pure path, pure followers of Advaita Acharya, they remained alive, remained dynamic. As Srila Prabhupada explains in one of the purports that some of the branches of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the branches of the tree, weren't watered diligently and carefully, therefore dried up. So it is up to the great Mahabhagavata Acharyas, the great sincere Vaishnavas, to carefully water and nourish these branches. Otherwise, due to the spell of Maya, we can dry up individually and collectively. We are very fortunate, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the previous verses, in his purport, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally watered this branch. The trunk was beginning with Advaita Acharya's teachings, and his loyal sons, Achyutananda, who established a very pure path for the Vaishnavas, and they all recognized and appreciated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. The others could not understand who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. They were remaining the worshippers of Advaita Acharya. It was partially acceptable, but because they could not understand and realize the importance and greatness and the importance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, they their branch began drying up. So we are very fortunate to have this Guru Parampara reinforced and established by great Mahabhagavatacharyas, going back to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu blessed this sampradaya, Madhya, Gaudiya sampradaya, originating from Lord Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhvacharya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we know, visited all these holy places when he had a tour around India, especially South India, went to Tirumala, met the father of Gopabhatta Goswami, and Gopabhatta Goswami was very young, and he also received the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded to Udupi, Madhvacharya's holy dham, Udupi Krishna. He preached, he met the Tattvavadis, the Vaishnava philosophers, and they had some disagreement, but in essence they agreed that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged them to take up the Sankirtan Yajna, which is the most powerful and the only recommended effective process. So then he proceeded gradually, arrived in Vrindavan, and he performed these beautiful pastimes at Vraj, Radhakund, Shamakund, Govardhan. He encouraged and empowered the Goswamis, 6 Goswamis, especially Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all the way through, not only demonstrating but exhibiting his transcendental pastimes, beautiful Adi-lila. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's position is extraordinary, which never in Vedic history, especially the Puranas, had this golden avatari, directly Krishna himself, in the mood of Radharani. So this is a very interesting topic here, because as Gadadhara Pandit manifesting his beautiful pastimes with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhara Pandit was non-different from Radharani. But in this mood, in the Adi-lila, he was in the mood of Dasya Bhava, in a service. And in Krishna's pastimes, Radharani and Krishna had a very conjugal, loving pastimes. So highly exalted Mahabhava. And only Gadadhara Pandit could manifest that Mahabhava. And no one could approach Mahaprabhu in the mood of conjugal Madhurya Rasa, because he was exhibiting and feeling and playing the pastimes, actually feeling those emotions of Radharani. At one time, in Jagannath Puri, Rath Yatra festival, and the Jagannath cart got stuck. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked up on Jagannath, and Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very ecstatic exchange, very emotional exchange. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Lord Jagannath, "I'm the same Radharani, and you are the Krishna." So we met again. And of course, Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had this beautiful, sweet, extraordinary interaction. And of course, the close associates of Mahaprabhu observing these ecstatic symptoms of Mahaprabhu and Jagannath cart start moving again. So we can see Gadadhara Pandit came here to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to revive the mood of Srimati Radharani, because they're both in the mood of Radharani, obviously. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Tota Gopinath in Jagannath Puri. And it's a very beautiful temple. Many of us visited this holy place. And where Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu approached Gadadhara Pandit and heard attentively Srimad Bhagavatam from him regularly. And Gadadhara Pandit explained all the detailed pastimes and teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, culminating in the most glorious Mahabhava of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So all those devotees who, rising above the sadhaka platform, they start appreciating these loving emotions to Mahaprabhu and Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Of course, we cannot imitate. Srila Prabhupada warns the tendency for sahajism and mayavada, which created many apa sampradayas, as we all know, and which also shows the dried branches of Chaitanya tree. They made an aparad, or they could not understand the exalted position of Mahaprabhu and his appearance. So they made aparad to the acharyas and to Mahaprabhu himself. So even in the worship of Radha and Krishna, we are going through Guru and Gauranga. We cannot approach directly. So we have to be very, very humble and learn the Shikshakshaka attentively. Not just to recite repeatedly, but trying to meditate on these beautiful verses of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu explains the entire Vaishnava Siddhanta in these 8 verses, and our goals and our experience with Krishna consciousness, which culminates in the pure, unalloyed devotion to Srimati Radhika and Krishna himself through the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gadadhara Pandit advised Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sometimes corrected if he felt that he's not in the right mood, how Srimati Radharani was feeling for Krishna. These are very, very subtle interactions here because they're both in the mood of Radharani. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had so much love for Gadadhara Pandit. So only Gadadhara Pandit could understand these subtle interaction and loving exchanges of Mahaprabhu. As we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared from our worldly vision in 3 different ways. In the Jagannath Temple, in the sea, he entered the sea and also entered the body of Tota Gopinath at the same time. So we can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhara Pandit was extraordinary bond. Therefore, although Gadadhara Pandit came in a most humble, pure associate of Mahaprabhu, he was always serving the Vaishnavas, always serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was in the service of Tota Gopinath to his last days. And we know many beautiful stories of Tota Gopinath. And Gadadhara Pandit was very elderly, and he couldn't dress the deities anymore. And the deity was very tall, so Tota Gopinath sat down for him. So this is one of the only sitting deities of Krishna, really, Tota Gopinath. So Gadadhara Pandit could dress the deity very beautifully. And there are many other beautiful pastimes of Gadadhara Pandit. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also summarizes this 12th chapter in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. He basically hints and summarizes all the expansions and descendants of Gadadhara Pandit, not to speak of Advaita Acharya, and the relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So obviously they all came and manifested the pastimes with Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu together. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu had many reasons to appear, and we all know that he had a very confidential personal reasons, which to taste that sweetness, that Mahabhava, what Radharani felt for Krishna. Krishna himself is overwhelmed with this love, and he was so attracted to the pure Mahabhava, Seva, what the devotee is offering to him, that he decided to come as a combined form of Radha and Krishna. Gora Sundara, the golden form of Radharani. So very beautiful connection. And if you see the Panchatattva, each member of the Panchatattva had a very exalted, meaningful pastimes of Mahaprabhu, supporting his Sankirtan Yagna, which was the second main reason he came, to deliver the fallen conditioned souls of this Kali. It's a very difficult age. So we need an extraordinary mercy, and this is Mahaprabhu. Left the Shikshakstaka and the importance of the Sankirtan mission, the holy names, the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. And he mentions there's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way except the chanting of the holy names. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse, Srila Prabhupada often quotes this verse, that those who have sufficient intelligence in this day and age, they will take to the congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So this is a great importance for the Vaishnava students to be grateful what we have received from our spiritual masters and from the Vaishnavas, especially accomplished Vaishnavas who have realizations, great services to their spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada gave us the means, the infrastructure, and all the great sincere followers representing him. So we should be grateful to all the devotees, especially devotees who have elevated adhikari, who have realizations, and they have manifesting the nice qualities of Vaishnava, especially the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. These qualities earned by sincere, humble devotional service. It cannot be artificially exhibited. We have to be in a service mood. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu also mentions that the proper mentality of a Vaishnava is to understand that we are the servant of the servant of the servant. He also says, I'm none of these things. I'm not a Brahmana, Vaishya, Sudra, Kshatriya, nor a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapasta, Sannyas. These are all externals. And he says, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the divine couple. So this is the proper way a devotee should think, that we're developing this humble service attitude to the Vaishnavas and serving the spiritual master and his mission and patiently, hopefully, waiting for the mercy and the blessings of Guru and Gauranga. And this is when we can start appreciating these esoteric, deeply esoteric and transcendental meanings, especially the interaction of the Panchatattva. Gadadhara Pandit was a personality, personal manifestation of Mahabhava of Radharani. So none of the close associates could manifest this level of Mahabhava. There's a technical name for it, I forgot. Where Caitanya Mahaprabhu came so close to one of the associates, and that was Gadadhara Pandit, Radharani herself. So we are grateful that Srila Prabhupada introduced us and taught about Sri Panchatattva. And the mood of Sri Panchatattva for this age is extraordinary. So much compassion, love, distributing love of Krishna in so many ways. And we have a Vaishnava Sangha and all the beautiful facilities by the hard work of Vaishnavas for decades. Now we have a beautiful infrastructure here. And the devotees who are sincere sadhakas and followers of Srila Prabhupada and his devotees, and our entire parampara, not to speak of the Goswamis and Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, want to share this, want to distribute this mercy, this happiness of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada established the book distribution process, the marathon, that devotees can go door to door in the mood of Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, learn real humility, and request them, beg them, please chant the holy names of Hari Krishna. So the devotee is learning humility by the process of preaching and distributing literatures. These books are not ordinary books, they are transcendental literatures. They explaining how to achieve the highest realms of devotional service, how to attain love of Krishna in this life. We have the formula, at least. We have Srila Prabhupada's books. They're like passports of going back to Godhead. And the visa is to approach a spiritual master. So just like when you're approaching, you want to travel, and obviously you get a passport first. You get the legal document. And then you get the stamp of the visa. You can actually enter the country. So Srila Prabhupada's books are like passports of going back to Godhead. And a sincere sadhaka, a fortunate soul who opens these pages and takes the association of Vaishnavas and meet a spiritual master and inquire, then is ready to get the visa. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the senior Vaishnavas and the assembly of the Vaishnavas and Panchatattva, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, we have the opportunity to return back home, back to Godhead. And depends on the individual effort. It may take many lifetimes to come to higher realms of bhav. We never reach certain bhav levels, only very, very close. No one can have the Mahabhava. But we can come to the platform of prema. There are many different technical names for that too. Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and other literatures of the Goswamis. They explain very clearly the different stages of realizations. Raghunath Das Goswami, he again compiled many, many verses, including Jiva Goswami, 400,000 verses in the glorification of Radha and Krishna and the process of devotional service. Raghunath Das Goswami explains the Garga Samhita, especially about the pastimes of Govardhan Hill, the sweetness of Krishna. And there's one paragraph in Garga Samhita that I came across which kind of resonates with me, is when he made the statement of Giri Govardhan is like the heart of Krishna. Govardhan is like the heart of Krishna. Everything is there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brings that sweetness of Krishna, the heart of Krishna to us. He's giving us Vraja Bhumi, giving us the beautiful experiences. And this can be obtained and attained by humble, patient devotional service, chanting the holy names attentively, with devotion, in a mood of service, and then gradually, by the mercy of the holy name, we may have the access to these beautiful pastimes and be part of it. That's another thing. We have to desire, we have to have the pure desire. So Gadadhara Pandit explains this to Mahaprabhu as he teaches the Srimad Bhagavatam to him. And this is also a very interesting interaction here between Mahaprabhu and Gadadhara Pandit. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, always ready to consult his pure devotees with loving affection, just like Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Ramananda Rai about the different stages of devotional service. And Ramananda Rai gradually explains this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can go right up, even passing Vana Ashram, to a complete transcendental platform of pure love, above all externals. So obviously there is a gradual process, but a devotee, a sadhaka who sincerely studies Srila Prabhupada's books, they know that there's a sublime goal. There's a sublime goal of Krishna consciousness, which is to enter Vrindavan. Through the mercy of the great personalities, even Vrindadevi is present with us. So, by the mercy of Vrindadevi, the great personalities, Mahabhagavatas, the Mahajanas, and ultimately Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and the assembly of the Vaishnavas, we have a great hope. And if you are patient enough, the rest is guaranteed. So Krishna will help us, encourage us. Krishna is always there to help us. So Sankirtan mission of Mahaprabhu is a very glorious and highly effective process. So this is what I can say about Gadadhara Pandit. So he's got many expansions. Unfortunately, there are many, like I said earlier, upper sampradayas, dried branches. So one has to be very careful where we receive the actual knowledge, the Divya Jnana. So we consult our spiritual master and the authentic, authorized scriptures, translations. And there are many different translations, especially by the Mayavada, the interfering in these pastimes. Some Mayavadi scholars even say that when they're kind of trying to explain these beautiful pastimes, but in their interpretations, and quite offensive also, that they don't get what Mahabhav is. They always come to some kind of impersonal, nihilistic understanding, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his bhav, his pastimes. So we have to avoid these literatures and commentators because they contaminate, pollute our consciousness. The devotee should remain faithful, loyal to his spiritual master and his teachings. And this is how we get the help of Krishna directly. So, Shri Gadadhara Pandit Ki Jai. Of course, as the verses go on, it explains the different lines and coming down. So, which are authentic, which not so, because contamination. This is the age of Kali. Maya is trying to disrupting. So, therefore, we should be, like I said earlier, we should be very careful to be very, very faithful and loyal to our teachers. This is the formula for success. Otherwise, we can get distracted very easily with flowery language or word jugglery. And the Sahaja, Smarta Brahmanism, Mayavadism are polluting the minds of sincere devotees. So devotees should be vigilant and take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books and his teachings, not to jump over. We should go through the Guru, Gauranga process. We can only understand the Goswamis through our spiritual master. So we have to always go through that. See through the eyes of our teacher. And trying to understand these literatures, esoteric, deeply transcendental literatures of the Goswamis, previous acharyas, and then we can have some understanding. Otherwise we can misunderstand. And so we have to be very careful here. For the benefit of the ultimate destination, which is to develop our love for Krishna and returning back home, back to Godhead, back to our original position. Any comments or questions? Hare Krishna. Hare Sorry, Prabhu. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Caitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.